Hi, it's Elizabeth Sweetwater here with a video about upcycling. Do you have any old jumpers or sweatshirts lying around in your house that are not worn? Don't throw them away. In this video I will show you how to turn this old jumper into a cute cardigan. I'm going to make the cropped version of the cardigan, so I shortened the front and the back. So this is the original length and I've made it shorter. As you can see, the line happened to be going across the pocket. And I also made the back shorter, the same amount. And then the waistband will be a lot higher. This waistband is 9 centimeters. I'm going to make it 15 centimeters. I'm going to cut it out of a single ribbing material, which means that the bottom of it is already finished. Normally you would get a ribbing cut by the meter and then you would have to fold it in half. You see the folding line here, and you then fold your band in half. So if you want to make your waistband higher, then you need to extend it here and extend it there. But since I'm only using single ribbon, I'm only going to extend it up to there. I want to make it 15 high, so it'll be this much higher. And then I've stuck together the front and the back of the ribbing, because I can cut it out of one piece, so you won't have a seam. I will also make it a lot narrower. First because my ribbing is quite stretchy, and also it's placed a lot higher, so you need less width. What I did is I just measured my waist and deducted a little bit from it because it's so stretchy, but I think you can get away with just measuring your waist and then cutting half of your waist on fold. And then we have the button stand. That also needs to be a bit shortened, so I folded away one measurement in between the two buttons. So it's one button shorter. So that's the alterations to the pattern. Everything will be a lot clearer once I've cut out the pieces. Since this is an upcycling project, I have used an old sweater from my husband. I've taken it apart, and then I will show you how to place your pattern pieces on the individual parts of the sweater. So this is the sleeve. I wanted to use the puffy sleeve, and as you can see it fits in this sleeve part, so I'm going to use the puffy sleeve and then the short length because I can't quite cut it out of the whole sleeve. Then the back you would have to put on fold. As you can see, that easily fits on the back of the sweater. Then the front, you cut it twice out of the front piece, which also will fit neatly. Then we have the waistband, and for that I have some cuff material. This cuff material is already finished at one end, so I can just use it single. I will put my waistband piece on it like this, and I just measure 15 centimeters plus extra seam allowance. If you were to use ribbing like this, circular ribbing, then you would do the same. You would put it on fold, but then you need to cut it twice the height, because this is not finished on the end, so you have to fold it and then attach it, so you have a fold on the bottom. And then I have my band. I've decided to cut that one out of some French terry, and then you would have to cut that vertically with the grain. So I'm now going to cut out the pieces. So quite a few steps further now. The pieces are all cut and prepared. You can find all the steps on Weebly, but what I've done so far is I have sewn the back facing on the inside of the back piece. I have finished the shoulder seams and sewn them together. I've sewn the darts on the front and on the back. I have cut my ribbing pieces for the sleeves and for the bottom. Then I have gathered the area in between the two marks of the sleeves. I will pin them in later. I covered some buttons with fabric. Then I've ironed on some interfacing where the buttons and buttonholes are going to be. In the tutorial it says just half a width of iron-on interfacing, but since mine is really thin, I've used a full width strip. I've also sewn the shoulder seams of the button band. So once I've done that, I'm going to pin in my sleeves. As you can see, I've indicated 2 points here. The points are on the pattern piece, and that's where you pin your gathered bit in. Pin there, pin there. Then of course you have indicated your marks for the sleeve, one at the end. So once it's pinned, I will sew the sleeve in first with a regular stitch, and once I've done that, I will use my overlock machine to go over it again. So the sleeves are now sewn in with an overlock stitch, and I have also closed the side seams also with an overlock stitch. Then I have closed the cuffs and fold them over, and I have pinned them to the edge of the sleeve. I had to cut my cuff a lot narrower than the pattern because this material is like super stretchy. I also hemmed the waistband to the bottom of the cardigan. To attach, again, it's best to sew it first, preferably with a walking foot, especially when it's this stretchy. If you don't have a walking foot, then I would recommend basting it first. After you've sewn it with a normal stitch, then go over it with an overlock machine. So the cuffs and the waistband are sewn on. Now I need to attach the button band. First I have sewn the bottom of the button band here, and then fold it back inside out. After that I made some buttonholes. Before I pinned the band on, I made the buttonholes. I used some Avalon to do that. And what I did is I indicated the distance between the buttonholes on the Avalon. Then you sew your buttonholes, and then you can easily just rip that away. And then you pin your button band all around. Shoulder seam on shoulder seam, and then like before I'm going to sew it first with a normal stitch, and then I'm going over it with a overlock stitch. So the upcycled sweater is ready. The buttonholes and the buttons are done, and at the end you will have a few overlock threads, so you need to fold it in the seam and attach it with a few stitches. I made a little alteration still because I just had a fitting, and I decided to make the sleeves a little bit shorter, and also the cuffs and the waistband I made a lot narrower because this ribbing material kept on stretching and stretching. But it's done, and yeah, I think it's a great result. So I hope this gave you the inspiration to have a go at some upcycling yourself. Of course, you can find all the patterns on Etsy, and all the tutorials you can find on Weebly. Well, thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.